Hi everyone, it's Shelly with Shelly's Images. I'm so excited to have a video camera and be able to share some video tutorials with you. Since this is my first video ever, I thought I would share this card that's inspired by a card that my best friend and honorary sister Min sent me this week. It's a partial front card, and I just thought that it was so cute and so fun to get, so I thought I would recreate the card for all of you and give you all the measurements, so all the guesswork is taken out for you. I'm going to put together the larger card for you today, and actually at the end of the video we'll have a cut list for the smaller, more standard A2 size card. So I'm going to move these out of the way and we'll get started with creating this card. We're going to start first of all with our base. This card envelope is a 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 inch card. So the base that we have that we're going to start with is 5 by 7, and of course we're going to have to score that in half, and so I'm going to score it at 5 inches. We'll fold it across and use our little bone folder tool to make that a nice fold. And now to create the cutout for our card, I'm going to measure 3 inches down and make myself a little line there to go by. I am definitely a measurer. I kind of measure everything. And so if you don't create like that, then you can sure just eyeball it and decide how you want your card to look. Of course, all the measurements I'm giving you today will change a little bit if you do that. I like to use the straight cutter to cut out this top part, but so that I don't make a mistake, I'm going to make a little arrow on the part that I want to cut out, because it seems like everything gets a little bit confusing once you get it over to your cutter. And I've made that mistake before, like that, cutting out the wrong part of it. So line it up, make your cuts across, and then we'll have our little partial front that's going to make the card so pretty when we get all finished with it. Get rid of this cutter. And there we have it. I'm not going to take time to do it right now in the video, but oftentimes I go ahead and take a pair of scissors and just cut out this actual score part along here. I think it just makes it look better and look more finished if you take the time to do that. Now we have our pieces that are going to go along the front, and on the video I will give you the actual sizes of these. And again, like I said, all of the sizes will be at the end of the video, so you can pause the video on those and be able to recreate this card. On the larger card that I'm doing here, I'm using paper from the Paper Studio, the gold wedding texture, and then the paper that's going to go in the back is actually the gold wedding stripe. This is a Basil blue paper that's discontinued now. I loved it and bought a whole bunch of it when I found out that they were discontinuing it. And this is Basil pine cone. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of these pieces to this front flap of the card. And you'll have to bear with me a little bit. The ATG gun that I have is a brand new tool for me this week, and I have to say that I'm loving it, although every now and then I forget to do the pull straight back on it, and then I have a little excess of tape that rolls out on me. So there's the blue for our front. We'll add the brown now. perfectionist part of me that can't just let it be. I'm sure no one else would recognize if it was just a tiny bit off, but it just makes me crazy. And then finally, this is the pattern piece that we're going to put on the front. The next part that I'm going to work on is the image part. Before we put that on, we're going to want to have the ribbon go around it and underneath, and of course this is the part where I always make a mistake and get this image piece put down before I get the ribbon on. I love this ribbon addition, and of course it's not necessary to hold the card flat, but it sure is a nice addition, and so I'm going to add it to my card. I found the best way to add this is by using the score tape, and since my ribbon that I'm using today has a little bit of shear on the bottom, I'm going to use the thinner score tape that I have. I think this is maybe the 1/8 inch score tape. And the best way to eyeball where this is going to go is to actually fold the ribbon in half and lay it on top of my card. And that gives me the ability to see about how much score tape I'm going to need for that area, because I don't want the score tape to extend past the edge of the card. So I'm just going to kind of measure it out there, tear it off. And now I'm going to fold my ribbon open. I can kind of see where I had it folded and add my score tape. And you just want to kind of burnish this edge a little bit to get that to stick. I have found out in using the score tape that it's pretty easy to kind of, you know, snag the ribbon if you're not a little bit careful as you do this. And of course on a video, it would do something that's never done to me before and kind of separate like that. Anyway, here is our piece that's going to go on the front. And now I can just press it on. And then flip it over to wrap that back piece around. And again, I'm just going to kind of measure, eyeball how wide the card is, and that's the size of strip of score tape that I'm going to use on this back piece. Now we can just wrap it around here and glue it on. And while I'm back here, I'm going to go ahead, since I'm not adding anything else to the back, I'm going to go ahead and add my little circle piece to the back. It just says that the card is created by me, and it says that it uses an image from Shelly's Images. Kind of like a little Hallmark stamp on the back of the Hallmark cards. Okay, so now we're ready for the front. And of course, since it's a partial front, when we attach the blue part to the front, we want to make sure that we don't have any adhesive sticking down here. So I'm going to kind of set it wherever I think I want it on the front, and then just with my fingers flip it over and add adhesive to the bottom part of the blue. And now I'm ready for the brown, and then I'm ready for my rooster image. I have made a couple of these cards this week. One of them was sent as a sympathy card, and one of them is sent as just a get in touch card. So I think the rooster image is perfect for lots of different types of cards that you might want to make. And if anyone is interested in a tutorial on how I did the Copic coloring on my card. I'd be happy to show that. I know there's lots of Copic coloring videos out there, so I didn't want to bore you with something if it's not something that would be useful to you. I don't have this one colored, but I am going to go ahead and just attach it to the front of my card for the video. Ordinarily, of course, I would color the image first. That way I don't ruin the whole card if I decide I don't end up liking the coloring of something that I've done. And also, on another side note, the images, before I print them out and color them with the Copic markers, I always print them out on a high quality paper. The paper that I use is the Cryogen White, and you can kind of see it has just, well, I hope you can see, has just a little bit of a shimmer to it, but it's a nice heavyweight paper, and the Copic works really good with that. And so the last little bit that we're going to put on here is just the inside of our card. And of course you can make this as fancy or as simple as you want. I like to do stitching and stuff like that on the cards sometimes, but for this video I'm not going to show you that part of it. Oops, see, there's where I knew that once during the video I would mess up with the ATG gun and show you that I'm not quite a pro with it yet, although it's definitely not hard to use, and I've been enjoying it very, very much. I've had problems with adhesives in the past where I come back later to my project and it's kind of coming unglued at the corners, and it just makes me crazy to have to go back in with pop dots or something like that to hold the project down. So I'm really, really loving the ATG gun. Okay, and the last little bit is just the writing portion of the inside of the card. And of course we want to be somewhat careful with how we place this inside, because we don't want it to show when the card is closed. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and close the card and kind of get a feel for where it goes inside. Generally, if it's kind of centered on this lower part, it should be hidden, but nothing worse than gluing it down and finding out that it shows after you close it. So there's our completed card. Remember that after the end of the video, you'll be able to get just the breakdown of all of the sizes for both the larger card and the smaller standard A2 size card. And I also want to point out that these cards would be nice to just have on hand if you've got some pieces of paper left over from another project. Go ahead and whip one of these up, leave your image piece separate, and then later on when you need a card, all you have to do is decide which image fits the occasion for what you're sending the card for. Print it out, color it, put it on the front, and you are all set to go with a really cute card to send out. So thank you so much for visiting us today, and I hope that you enjoy this first video, and I hope that you enjoy the sizes and can make some of these cards. Of course, we'd love to see the tutorial used at our challenges, so if you make these, make sure that you let us know when you post it on your blog that you use the tutorial, so that we can know that when we come to visit. So thank you very much. Look forward to the next video. Bye.